Yay! We made it. Boy, life is life, and sometimes I tell you, at the last minute I decided to plug my computer in to make sure that my battery, I wasn't sure if the battery was recharged. So I wanted to make sure, leaned over, almost knocked the glass table over, you guys, and disconnected myself from Wi-Fi. So it took a long time reconnecting, so I just backed out and reconnected. And thank you for coming. Let me see if I can see the chat. Michael. Oh, Mike, thank you for coming. And thanks for hitting the thumbs up, everybody. I see, I don't know what I see. My Renaissance grandma. Hey, sis, thanks for coming. Unbiased LLC. Why wouldn't you be in the background working? Hello to everybody, she says, and Happy New Year to yous. So, today, first of all, I want to welcome all of the moderators, all of the channel members, the folks in the bushes. Hello, Mother. How you doing today? I only call you Mother the same way I call Michael to annoy you. Donzel Cooper, thank you for coming and welcome. Maria Graham, did I say hello, sis? Thank you. So, I kind of cheated you guys. The last live, something happened, but guess what? I found out it wasn't to the sewing machine, it was to my memory because I was sewing something that I knew had a lot of seams in the back. It was sewn with black thread and I couldn't see it. And I was trying to sew over the seams, and it was at the beginning of the stitches. So the machine said, we're not doing this. I just noticed something. My helper changes things around, and sometimes I don't notice. Almost homesteading with Janet. Welcome. I saw you with your cat rescue today, taking one to a new home. But what I just noticed, I had all this stuff up here, all haphazard. Now you can see that it says family. You can see that you could see my owl that Ty Lily made me years ago. You can see my Nana sign over there in the corner that my great grandson gave me, bought it with his own money, his allowance, when he was 13. He's 16 now. Nana still didn't finish his quilt, but I did send him a consolation Christmas gift. He will get it on Monday, and his birthday is February 16th. I promised myself I will have it to him before then. And I'm thinking about setting up a new system for quilt finishing. Some I finish here on one of my domestic machines. This one has the biggest throat. The throat is what you call the part underneath here that you have to roll a quilt up under on a domestic machine. And there's a new system. I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to get it or not. Do I have the cash to pay for it? No, Gina. We save up for most things, but this is something that just popped up. I know that I spent like $350 on the quilting alone, the long arm quilting on my mom's denim quilt. That was too big to fit, to roll up, and too heavy to have on my shoulder or lap. So I'm thinking about investing in what is called a Grace Cutie frame, one of the new ones, and it's a few $100. But I look how probably the first two big quilts that I quilt on it, and I have 60 quilts that need to be quilted, just sitting up there for the last few years. Oh, Gina's not here. I was just mentioning her name for two reasons. I have a piece of fabric that she bought me last year, and it's some of the most beautiful fabric I've ever owned, and in purple colorways. So what I'm working on are some modern bricks for an upcoming quilt, and the bricks have to be in African 75% African fabrics, and the rest of the bricks will be in batiks. So there's nothing wrong with the machine. I sewed a couple of test rows today before I came live with you guys, and I wanted to see if it was it or me. I have spent, I don't know, my snips must be on the floor. Your good scissors, you're never supposed to use for just cutting threads, never cut paper. But guess what? These are like 25 years old. I've never had them sharpen, and I'm going to do whatever I want. And they're so pretty. And these are gingers, but I want to show you something that you can have done. Those of you who go to quilting groups, let me see if I can show this. Yeah. Like Maria Graham. You see, I have my whole name engraved on here, Pankey. You can get your, you started it, you restarted because you didn't see Gina. Oh no, my bad. Gina has been up. New Year's Eve, she was up all night with Bayou. Her, Tiggsy, and a bunch of other people aren't here now, but they've been putting in some hours. So I want to show you what I have done. And some of you are getting a big storm coming up. And guess what? I'm in Connecticut 6B. The storm isn't coming here. We have had so much drought the last summer, over the fall, and now we're not getting. YouTube has been acting up. It was acting real funny, so and taking too long. So I just backed out and started over again. So we'll make it do what it do, right? And I appreciate everyone's loyalty. So let's talk about the new year. Some people, Psalm 146, good glorious evening, Auntie Ellen and everyone listening up there in the bushes. Well, you and Bean Juice, hi. Hi, family. People are saying hello to you, to my treasured home. Almost homesteading with Janet says a storm is coming there, but she has blankies ready. And I have quilts and quilts and quilts and quilts. But guess what? None of them are on my bed, except my memory quilt made out of my dad's old clothes. So, those of you who are new or just coming in today and weren't here on Thursday, I'm working on a modern quilt. And as I was saying, it's made of bricks. American bricks are literally 4 inches by 8 inches. Mike says it's 10 degrees now, -2 tonight. Oh, we're going to get really cold tonight, but no snow. La, 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 la. So I don't have to get my fake Timberlands out. I call them Fims. I don't know. Oh, yes, I do. I had about 5, 6 pairs of Timberland boots on the North Carolina homestead. I used to wear them. Why? Because it was country. You needed hiking boots or something out there in the woods and the uneven ground. But the house was sold as is. Guess what? Even the boots, all the stuff in the closets, most of the stuff, just as is. I have nowhere to put it. I am fortunate enough to have this 800 square foot handicap apartment. Mike fed his squirrels today quick. They were like, hang out with us. He said, nope, it's too cold. No, Mike, not after you've been over that cold. If you had the cold that I had the symptoms of, you are not going to be playing with that. Oh, you like my t shirt? I haven't put my gear out yet. my merch, but I will be making some traditions. This is my was my domain name, and I changed it after the first couple of years because nobody was spelling traditions with the NZS. It was a new channel and nobody could find it. So I put GQUAT. Why? Because it stands for Garden Quilt and Art Traditions, and that's what this channel is about. For those of you who are new or listening for the first time, and I do have some new subscribers, and I thank you. I thank each and every one of you, my existing subscribers as well. And this channel is about, I have been alive for 8 generations. Hasn't God been good to me? I don't look like, I have to keep telling people to have some sympathy on a sister because I'm 76 years old. And people say you don't look it. I don't know whether they're kissing up to me or just being kind. But yeah, I'm 76 years old. I'm one of the elders on YouTube. I don't see very many who have like live streams. There are a few. I know one person that's the exact age as me, maybe a month or two, and that's, Granny Karma. But she doesn't go into live streams. She doesn't go live herself. I haven't seen any videos lately, and I don't know if she programs her own content. I get in trouble sometimes trying to do stuff. Like you see this little background in the back with the orange, or is it? Or maybe you changed it back. Watch me mess with something. No, that's the one with the orange. Actually, I think I just changed it to the pinker one because when I reboot it, it went out. But I like doing things. So, how many of you, Mike says WIG 2024, how many of you are involved in at least one challenge over the winter or going on in your life? Put a Y if you're for yes, if you're engaged in any challenges. This quilt that I'm working on is actually a challenge to do an Afro modern quilt, meaning that it's a modern quilt, but it's an African fabric. It's a little messy over there, but I'll see if I can pan around the room so that you can see my Texas Tomahawks quilt up there in the corner above my dad's wood burning photo done by Jabril Ndoye. That is a modern quilt, except, and it's done all in batiks and some black Kona fabric, which is a nice heavy weight. It blends with some of the heavier fabrics, and it's one of the darkest that I know of. So Mike is involved in doing challenges, almost homesteading with Janet, my Renaissance grandma. Now, those of you who are involved in challenges, put how many you're involved in. Let me see. I'm doing the 15 minutes a day of an art form for myself. It was quilting for the month of December. I found out there was something strange going on. Can't stop. Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. You're going to grow something in your truck challenge. That's very good. And there's some things you can grow a bonsai tree easily. But if you want to grow something to eat, you can grow some basil. You could use that in a lot of things. I don't know about rosemary. And you guys, I've tried to grow basil from seed. I can in the summertime outside, but you know what I do? And it's not for the grow off. Almost homesteading with Janice, and she's just doing WIG 2025. You should drop some seeds in a solo cup. Can't stop. Don't you remember when you were in kindergarten, first grade? I know they were doing it in my day and age. We came home with the little solo cup. I may or may not have inherited my paternal grandmother's penchant, excuse me, to pinch things. If I was somewhere and I saw a plant that mommy didn't have, or when I was little coming home from school, or a bush or something, I would pinch it. I would pinch it. Now I know to ask. Now I know how to ask. It's 2024, Janet. Oh, she's calling it WIG 2025. It will end. The red solo cups are big. You can up pot to those, but they're generally not. I don't know. I'm just talking for me. For me, they're not a starting cup for me unless I put it in like the smaller clear cups. Now, am I doing it backwards? Yeah, the clear cups, then put it in the red solo cup so I can pick it up and see the roots inside. You have a pineapple papaya growing. Papayas grow pretty fast. I don't know. They may be hitting the roof of that truck soon. So I have WIG 2024. I have the $5 challenge where you put $5 in cash away a week in case. I hope none of y'all get snowed in and can get to the banks on Monday or tomorrow if you need it. But you want to have some cash. And I'm looking at why isn't my chat coming up? Now it's coming up and I can see you guys. And you can grow things in your truck. So for me, let me start all over. I ran out of fingers. I'm doing the WIG 2024. I'm doing the create something every day, at least 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be quilting. It could be sewing. It could be rock painting. I'm trying to see. Oh, above the TV screen up there. No, that's not my big one. I think that one's only 34 inches or something. That's a picture of Uncle Roscoe I painted. I've got rocks over here by my arrow garden. You say grow yard peppers. Boo, grass. You're going to grow some grass seed. There's some edible grass. There are grasses. There are some grasses that are ornamental. So they're pretty durable. I used to grow some ornamental grasses because they get real tall. A funny story, when I was on the North Carolina homestead, I talked to one of my cousins, Miss Shirley, OG, ASIS. Thanks for coming. You're getting some snow, but no, don't send it over here. I'm good. I'm good. And I had a push lawnmower. Mind you, I lived on 4 acres, but that it wasn't all cleared. I used to lease 21 more acres when we first got the property, and I lived there with my husband and children and any of my nieces or nephews that wanted to come hang out. So it was 25 acres total. But just the last, I want to say 10 years there, no, 20 years there, I lived on 4 acres, of which about maybe an acre and a half was a front yard, front lawn, excuse me, but it had a drive-through driveway. Can't stop. You could drive an 18-wheeler onto the property and off, unless you have an 18-wheeler with like the big moving vans that are like 2 stories, and you have your Grand Caravan up there and every inch of it taken up. You can actually, I used to own the back of an 18 wheeler. I don't know what you call it. I used it for storage on the property. But you could turn around. It was a U or circle driveway, pretty much, just a little part of the circle, and drive out onto the state road. Mike's cooking beef and broccoli stew. His house smells amazing. Me too, Michael. Me too. I didn't cook any black eyed peas for New Year's. I didn't cook any collards because I had some in the fridge from Christmas. But oh yeah, you guys, for those of you who are here, don't forget to put exclamation mark GQUAT to drop your channel and to connect with each other. Sissy, Joanne Stevens, thanks for coming, Sissy. Mike said he's got 7 pepper types in it. Hottest is habanero. I grew some habaneros last year, and when it gets closer to summer, I can't put things outside until after Memorial Day here, unless I want to babysit, and I'm not. And peppers don't like to be cold. There's still some cold days in the beginning of June. Excuse me, you guys, laughing because I will spend a month in Arizona from the middle of May till the middle of June. So they can't go outside until then. I'll drop some real quick in a couple of hydroponic systems. They'll get big enough to go out there. And those of you who are not subscribed to the channel, if you like the content, if you like the content, just subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost anything. So let me see. I'm going to drop the link so that if you're visiting, you can, excuse me, you can easily join the channel. I don't know how to. Okay, so I don't know if I did it or not. Okay, that wasn't what I was trying to do. This is what I was trying to do. Ah, I don't know. Well, that should be up there. The Garden, excuse me, Quilt and Art Show. But that is the name of the channel. I'm Ellen Pankey, or Auntie Ellen, as they call me. So this is what I was trying to show, where you can click on my link if you're not a channel member. It doesn't cost you anything. Val Creates. Thank you for coming and welcome, welcome, welcome. I saw you making bracelets and some other things. So there's the link to come in. I don't know why Nightbot's up there, but I guess I will take that out. Bye. Bye, Nightbot. See ya. Don't want to be ya. So what I'm doing for one of my challenges. I am in a quilt challenge. I think I'm in 3 challenges altogether. Have to put my $5 in my envelope for today, for this week. Since I've seen you on Thursday, I found a couple pieces of African fabric that I didn't cut to make a brick out of. So I will cut this one. You can tell it's authentic wax dyed fabric because it was, first of all, you can feel it just by picking it up. You can be blind and pick up this fabric and know that you've got your African fabric. When I was legally blind, I could tell which was which. This, of course, is stamped, and I can tell by the feel of the fabric what it is. So, since Thursday, I pulled some more fabrics out to make bricks, and I'll quickly show you. I didn't cut them down to size, nor did I piece them. So this is one. I'm just going to make it colorful. These are kind of thin, so I'm going to have to put a foundation on the back of it. Then I found a little piece of this. This one is actually cut to 4.5 by 8.5 inches. So I'm going to stick this in a, a brick as is. I'm bending over because my bricks are ironed and I don't want them to be all those are ironed. These last ones are not. So this is a bright color. It looks like sort of like blocks that are on point. This one, just because it's purple, I'm going to cut in 8.5 inch blocks. It's already 4.5 inches and it's colorful enough. It's got the gold in it. And these are, I don't know, little symbols. Then I found a piece of this. This is a batik with gold in it. I thought it was pretty. It was in two pieces. They're not exactly the same. They're not cut in the exact same. I'm not going to fussy cut them because I don't want to waste any of this pricey fabric. If you buy authentic fabric, it is pricey. I buy mine from Quilt Africa Fabrics. I'm a tribe member over there, and sometimes you get breaks. Yankee Sister Homestead, hola hermana. I thought about you today, and Thursday I showed your bag. You've got your birthday bag and something else, plus the stuff that's out there waiting from you when we missed the pickup before. So this is going to be cut into bricks. This is going to be cut into bricks. Why? Just because it's pretty fabric. And I was originally going to make 8 blocks across, 8 or 9. 9 times 4 is 36, plus the mortar in the bricks. That would make it about 42 inches wide and 60 inches long. I was going to make it a kind of like a lap quilt. No, a crib quilt. A crib quilt is like 45 inches by 60. But I don't know. By the time I finish making all these blocks that I'm planning on, this one I just thought was colorful. I know my sister's shaking her head, but this is not going to be a matchy matchy quilt. This is going to be boom laka laka, boom boom. So this is some fabric. Now, it's not like the other kente cloth that I have over there. I cut a couple pieces of this to go in it. I found I didn't have a lot of it. I didn't have a lot of it. So this will be a brick. They're pottery things. Just been moving and cruising. This is a different one. I'm going to tell you my funny story. Can't stop. Okay. This one, you can see the print mark where it was made, how it was made. So I was on my 4 acres of land. You're going to have to time mark us down to get there. Oh my. Oh, you got something for you? Oh, for those of you who saw the lasagna challenge I made with my helper, we made 2 big pans of lasagna. And some of the sauce we used was Yankee Sisters. Robin Murphy says, hey, Miss Ellen. Hey, thank you. Thank you for coming. So this is going to be a beautiful modern brick quilt, modern Afro modern quilt, and it will be just gorgeous. Everybody's saying hello to Robin Murphy. So I will show you some of, oh, let me talk about my WIG grow off thing real quick too. This is my drawing of the two planters that I have over here. But guess what? They didn't get planted. I was too busy pulling out fabric and cutting it. So going back to my quick story on the homestead, on the 1.5 acres that was in front lawn down there, here I am with my push lawnmower, excuse me, and I would start at the side of the road. And what do you call it? The big things that you drive over, the big round things. So I had two of those because I had what I mean, two sets of them because I had two really big driveways that I said 18 wheelers, the big dump trucks loaded with gravel. I don't know how many tons of gravel at a time could come in and drop stuff off over the years. So I start at the road and come back until the lawnmower ran out of gas. And then the next day I would start the next part till it ran out of gas. Not good for the motor, but the next part. And then by the time I finished 5 days during the week, it will be time to start all over again. So one of my cousins called and said, "Hey, cuz, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm out plowing with my mule." And he said, "You have a mule?" I said, "No, that's what I call that walking lawnmower. I call that my mule." Boy, we had a good laugh about that. We still talk about my mule. So, do any of you have any questions about this brick quilt? Or is anyone else going to try it? So, just to show you that the machine worked, I use this as a tester. So, this piece, I think I'm going to measure it. This is the one that was choking my machine. Just where you start sewing it, that's where it had like a double seam. After a while it caught on, or I started further down. So this block will look like this. Of course it has to be trimmed. And to make sure I had a piece big enough, this is a foundation piece for making smaller blocks together. So when I hold it against it as a template, once it's ironed, it will be big enough to fit. Tori's brain, how you doing, sir? I've been doing those numbers. I found out for me, I read them faster because most people read from left to right. Because I'm blind in my left eye, I can do the numbers faster if I start at the bottom right and go up looking for the numbers. I do them all. I just don't type them in the chat for you. I just put the three purple hearts to let you know. So here's a future block, and let's make some more. I had this really beautiful piece of indigo. I love indigo. It's always like a dark blue with some white on it. So this wasn't big enough to make a block by itself. So I don't know if I put this strip of purple on with it, if it will be wide enough. I measured it as 3.5 inches. I have to make 4.5 inches. So I'm going to put that on, and I'm going to. Yankee sister came in from the cold garage to watch. She started her seeds, and she's so good to her big sister. She always brings me some stuff, you guys, cooked, uncooked. Oh, I just remembered. I guess it's okay, Yankee sister. You got a quart of that molasses out there that's been there a month. I know we had some freezing days. I suppose I suppose it's not cracked and all over the place out there. I suppose. But if not, that will be a heck of a cleanup mess, won't it? You know, there's an old saying about about being slow, and they equate it to molasses going uphill in winter. So these are all the fabric pieces that I have cut up for scrappy blocks. And we're going to go from here. So let's sew a couple of them. You guys really enjoyed seeing all this African fabric and batiks. So let's make some blocks. Now you can sew the blocks together without any mortar, and a lot of people do. I have some templates showing it. I don't know where my little snips are under here. I have so many pieces of fabric I put up here for you guys. I'll find it as soon as I go off the air. Thanks for coming, everybody. Yankee says, "Yay, molasses!" Yep, something to put the molasses in. You got a lot of stuff out there. It's been out there since before Christmas. So, where's the piece that I just sewed? So this one, this little hut won't is not big enough. It's not long enough. So I put this little, oh sissy, I know you like this little reptile snake looking fabric. Who likes snakes in here? Does anybody like snakes? I used to have snakes on my property, copperheads and moccasins. Oh, guess what? While I was out there walking around with flip flops on, I accidentally stepped on a copperhead one night when I was feeding my puppies. Then I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want it to get one of my puppies. I had to go up this ramp. I had a 1 bedroom mobile home that I used for a dog house. I used to have show dogs, so they came in at night. So I thought that this copperhead was, I was stepping over. There was some little small logs on the ground going into one of my dog pens. Mike likes snakes, of course. The squirrel whisperer, but you know they can. Some of them have big mouths. They can eat us. Robin Murphy hates snakes. I am no friend of snakes. I'm not like terribly afraid of them if I see them first. And I used to walk around the property with a sharp shovel in my hand. But I didn't kill the copperhead that day. I was too busy getting out of its way with flip flops on, and I went and closed the door of the trailer. Only timber rattlers bad there, rest harmless. Well, we had a little stream on the back of the property where it was a runoff for the land. And when there was a big rain, there would be rushing rapids back there. But the moccasins can swim. They wiggle, wiggle, wiggle down, and they're black. They're black. Sometimes my dogs would kill one. I don't know how. I don't know how. So this one, I had a piece of snake skin on this side. Am I going to match it or change it around? I don't actually know where I put the snake skin. I didn't have a big piece of it out. So I will put it aside until I find another piece. So let's use a foundation piece. Sorry to see you missed. You were in the bushes finding paintbrushes for a bit. For those of you who don't know, oh, here are my snippy snips. They're pink. Why? Because pink is not one of my favorite colors. I don't dislike it. I just have no use for pink. I do have a little bit of pink around here. Let me see. There's some stuff knocked over there. But you see my forever roses over there? Oh, I know how it got knocked over when I almost knocked my good table down. Yeah. So I make things that are pink when I want to find them around here. So I'm going to put this fabric down, feeling it to see where the back is, so we don't have that problem again. And we're going to make this one cute. This I had a lot of left, and you can tell the genuine African fabric. Oh, and is it expensive? Yes, because it's printed. Frugal Mama, thank you for coming and welcome, welcome, welcome. I've been watching you in the bushes when I do my morning therapy. my schedule has changed, so I don't get to come in while you're actually live. You guys that are interested in starting a new program, check out Frugal Mama. She exercises every morning, 7 a.m. sharp. So, what am I going to put with this fabric? I have a lot of animal print. Oh, here's a piece, another piece of leopard. So, I didn't have to wait long. And I cut a 2-inch strip of a lot of zebra zebra looking print that are kind of neutrals. Just making colors. Here's a white and gray zebra print, other stuff. So we'll go back and get him and cut a piece of reptile for my sister Joanne. She knows I'm not afraid. I bring it every day. Hey Kelly, I saw you making your sloppy joes last night. I didn't get it on TV. I didn't get a chance to come back and comment. I'm sewing some blocks with African and batik fabrics to make some bricks to make a new Afro modern quilt for a challenge. So everybody's speaking to Kelly. I bring it every day. So this is exciting, sissy. This is exciting. My sister Joanne is entering the quilting challenge. She's already paid the little $25 entry fee. I didn't see where there was a limit on how many pieces you can enter, so I am entering 3. Why? Because I have 3 in process. And I want to. Whatever Lola wants. So this is what this block will look like. I didn't have enough indigo. So let's see. Let me get a foundation piece out that's not being used. Let's see if it's big enough to be a brick. Actually, it's just a smidge too small. So let's put something on the, oh, here's another little piece. Just because my sister likes things to be decent and order and matching, I'll put it on the other side of this indigo. I never waste fabric. I cut it just a little bit bigger than the piece I'm sewing it to in case something happens or the fabric doesn't get fed through evenly. I can always trim it up later on. So these are going to be some colorful, beautiful bricks. And I can't wait to see what this quilt is going to look like. So when you're quilting and you're making fancy things with points, and the points have to not touch the fabric or the background. It's really when the quilt police come for you, they come. So here's some neutral fabric I cut. So maybe I'll put a piece of that next to these crazy colors over here. This is a big pile of strips of African fabrics that I have cut out to make these blocks. A big pile. So this quilt might actually be bigger than the 45 inches by 60 inches that I originally said, or maybe I'll only use the piece blocks that you guys seem to like so much. So I'm cutting this piece to fit over here. And away we go. I know that you can't see my face, but I wanted you to see what I'm working on because I put the first piece down face forward. And you know, if your stitches are a little bit crooked, it's okay. It's all right, all right, all right. So this is what they call string piecing, uh, because I'm putting strings of fabric together. It's also chain piece because I'm running them in succession. I have this little gizmo that I can actually put down like this and cut the threads. I'll put it over here so I remember to show you guys. Okay, so now this is what this block now looks like. Of course, it has to be pressed. I think it's a cute little block. Wonderful creations in the making, Hermana. Thank you. You have a lot of scraps, Yankee sister. You can do eat. You can do eat. I don't know if I showed, no, I didn't show you this one. So this is actually a hut with might be a few pythons outside of this hut. One never knows, do one? So that's what this block looks like. So this is fun, you guys, creating things. Oh, and modern quilts, one of the definitions of modern quilts, they have words on them. So I was going to handwrite how many bricks are in that quilt. So see, I was thinking about making it like 9 bricks across, 8 or 9 bricks across, and 8 down because it won't be as wide as long. Wellness with Frugal Mama saying, greetings, everyone. Happy Saturday, beautiful people. So, I don't know. I'm right now, I'm just making bricks and having fun. So, I had this piece of fabric that some of you have seen before, and it has words on it. It says friend, love, home, family. So, I'm going to fussy cut those. They're already in grids and put them with the African fabric to go in the bricks of the quilt. Oh no, not pythons. You don't like snakes that give tight hugs. Yeah, they surely do. They surely do. So this is a thin piece. I'm not gonna put this over there. I might put it in my crumb pile over there. So this one I will like fussy cut my really big black sharp scissors over there. So if you have a piece of fabric that has words on it that you want to use, so I'm looking where I can get the most words, I'm going to cut it down here and take those stupid cherries off. Use what you have. So that's what I did. I went and pulled out some more fabric. I knew I had actually on the other side of that chair, this is like 6 feet high, this setup. The very bottom of it, there's a tote and it says Afrocentric fabric. I knew that it had Afrocentric fabric in it in bits and pieces, but I didn't know which Afrocentric fabric. So I'm going to take this silly puppy off here. I love puppies. Mr. Hershey is back there. I'm going to actually a sunflower, Psalm 146 could be an African fabric, but I'm going to surround this with African fabrics on a brick. I won't use this one. I'll put it in something else. So Now I have pieces, and I'll make like a crazy quilt block with this. I will put some, they're saying, hi, Mr. Hershey. Maria Graham says, beautiful colors, Auntie. It's going to be fabulous. This is why I have no money. My extra money, I put it in the things I love. Either family, you see this little piece of indigo? It will not, I repeat, will not be thrown away. So over here, I actually have a couple pieces of pretty big fabric. So this one and this one I can put together. So when you sew, you put right sides together, or as Unbiased says, pretty sides together. So I'm putting these together, and I'm going to make a block. So, oh, I'll put some more in while I'm chain piecing, just to show you guys. Let me get some more foundations out. Or, like, you change your mind. You can change your mind. You see this? This is a brick that was exactly the right size. But it's boring after I started pulling out my other colors. Hey, Donzel Cooper saying, hey, Mr. Hershey, and speaking to people in the chat. So, what I'm going to do with this brick that was already ready to go, I'm going to fold it in half and add something to it. Why? Because that's just your Auntie Ellen being creative. Never bored. I'm never bored. Uh, I live in a senior handicap building, and I'm just putting this down where you could see it. This is an envelope full of pre-cut bricks that are 4.5 by 8.5 that I can foundation piece. And people would say, I'm bored during the shutdown. I was so happy when the shutdown came. I had enough food for a year, trust me. I didn't buy food for 6 months. I used what I had in the pantry. I was so happy. I would stay here and cook and quilt all day, every day. Happy. So, where this used to be a plain brown block, guess what's going to happen? It's going to be paired up with this bright orange. This bright orange won't be big enough, so I might put a piece of that digital kente cloth. I have some of the traditional kente cloth. I will show you 1 second. Sorry if my boom boom was sticking out, you guys. So this is some of the more traditional kente cloth, but was already cut into 2.5-inch strips, and it was going to be binding on something else I did, and I decided it was too bright. It was too bright for this. It may end up being the binding on these bricks, but I doubt it. I doubt it. I may take some of the strips that are already in the quilt, because I cut some of these from yardage, and I will be able to. The shutdown was your best life. Exactly. Exactly. So you guys don't need to see my face. Look at all these fabrics that are piled up here. And yes, they are ironed. They were ironed. And they will be re-ironed to set the seams. So let's make some beautiful blocks here. Since you didn't get to see any on Thursday. So, and the reason I'm doing this is for the 15-minute sort of challenge. Oh, here's a piece of batik. It's in pink, not my fave, but I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it. So, just to show you how to use this little this little cutting thing, it has a razor blade down in between the ouch, the blades. Oh, I only touched the wood, but the edge of the wood was a bit sharp. So, I'm going to cut. Wait a minute. What's going on here? Oh, so it goes in like this. Whoop. You see that? Now I'm doing it correctly. This one, this little piece, going to cut you, but I don't need it now. So I'm going to put it up here where I can find it again. So here's this little word that says friend. So is that big enough? No, it is not. It is not. So just for giggles and kicks, actually, here are some pieces. I wasn't going to put this one on here, but it almost fits. Nope, it's a little too short. A little too short. Unless I add a piece onto this. But why do that when I can add a strip? So this one, I'm looking for a block that's 4.5 inches wide, and I'll just keep adding onto the ends with color until I can trim it down to 4.5 inches by 8.5 inches. Like saying careful with that sharp edge. So this one, the word is pretty close to the edge. So I'm gonna put a scant 1/4 inch seam because I want as much of the word friend to show as possible. And I'm sewing crooked off the side of the block. Then chain piecing, I'm going back to that first block that I sewed on the side. And because the fabric is crooked, it doesn't cover the edge of the fabric. But that is quite all right. I have a solution to this. I have this thin piece here. I'm going to intentionally sew it further down. And I will show you in uno momento. And these strips are crooked, but that's going to be fine. So what I do, I always sew at least 2 blocks together. This one is 3 because it saves thread and it saves time. Pinch. Oh, what I said ow before, I actually touched the edge of the sharp part of that wood. It's fairly new. It's not actually new. I bought it, but I don't use it. Why? Because I'm OCD-ish and I like to cut the thread as close to the fabric as possible on both sides. When you're using that, most people just cut the thread in the middle and have strings hanging down. So here's the book that says friend. I think that it's almost big enough, meaning 4.5 inches by 8.5 inches. So I will pull a foundation piece out to measure it by. Actually, here's another block over here that's already out, a foundation block. So let's measure our piece. We have all these extra words. We have friend, home, love. We're going to surround those with fabrics. So let's see what we've got. Almost, almost. It's a little bit thin on one side. Let me see what I can do. I may sew a little strip along there just for giggles and kicks, or leave it and just put a wide enough seam to cover it. So I'm fingernail pressing it, and I need a piece on this end. So let's pump it up with something crazy looking. How about this? How about that? I love doing this. It's so much fun, you guys. I saw Unbiased working on some strips one time. It's so satisfying to take something that is nothing and make it into something. And that's what those strip quilts do. What would you do with these? Most people, well, you know what? I didn't know how to make scrap quilts when I first started quilting. I learned how, I've sewn since I was like 6, 7 years old. I actually made whole skirts hand sewing them. I learned all the fancy stitches. I learned how to make French seams. 7 years old, right? In brownies. And so I started quilting when I was 50 to make a king size quilt for my mom and dad. I couldn't find anybody to pay to make what I had in mind for them. So I put 25 yards of fabric and cut it all up. I didn't have a rotary cutter then. I don't think I had a cutting board. I used a piece of wood that I kept in the back of my car. I would take with me everywhere I went. And I got that quilt made, and it had 25 different fabrics in it that were 3 inches wide. And that's still my mother's favorite quilt. So, this is what this block is looking like so far with all these crazy colors. And what will I put next? Yep, just because it's out, I will put a piece of that orange. Why? Because when I'm making a quilt and I'm already making blocks 2 by 2, I sort of kind of balance them out so that if I've got like a bright orange on one side of the quilt with a certain kind of fabric, I like to put something on the other side. Doesn't have to be the same size, doesn't have to look the same, but just that's just my little artistic thing. So this is a thin piece of strip I'm sewing it to. So I'm putting again a scant 1/4 inch. When you're making a scant seam though, you have to make sure that it's caught all the way down, meaning that it's sewn before you flip it. Okay, I'll show you what I mean in just a sec. I don't know where she went. I did have my little pink snips up here a few moments ago. So, this one, just to show you my process, any combination is perfect. Thank you. Because each one of these strips, now there's a way that you can connect them all together. There's some quilts that are made like that. So this is what this block looks like. Not so bad. Not so bad. And you can see the word friend in here. So here's my comparison block. This is almost perfect. It just needs to be pressed. So here's a friend about today. Big why? Because good friends become family, and family is everything. And guess what? I have some words over here that say family, that say home. I'm going to cut those out and put them in other blocks. So let's just finish the ones we started. And for those of you who like pink and those of you who like purple, let's just make a pink and purple block just for giggles and kicks. So I have this batik fabric. Mind you, this quilt has to have 75% African fabric because it's for my Quilt Africa Fabrics Tribe project. Hey, everyone in the chat. Hope everyone is well. Hey, Tampa's Creek Homestead and more. Thanks for coming and welcome. We're making a brick quilt. I know that you're interested in sewing, and we're making some blocks the size of what an actual brick would be. An actual brick, for those of you who just came in, is 4 inches by 8 inches. So I'm actually making my blocks 4.5 inches by 8.5 inches because the 1/4 inch seam will take in half an inch and make it fit. So people are saying hi to Tampa's Creek. I'm going to cut one block with some pink and purple in it. And yes, I this is a batik, but yes, I do have African fabrics with purple and pink. I'm not trying to make these blocks matchy matchy. To go back to my story, I learned how to quilt when I was 50. I was working, had a great job, made plenty of money, couldn't find anybody to make what I wanted. This won't fit. I mean, this is too short for my mom. So I ended up buying all this fabric and making this quilt myself. This is short. So what I'm doing, I'm putting the shorties on the right side of my machine. Auntie Ellen, did you see that Tampa is making big diet changes this year? Has them all inspired. That is really, really great. Good for you. Let's give Tampa a hand. I am I have made some changes, not big changes. Like when my helper comes on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we have decided that we will eat oatmeal at least 3 times a week because she has an issue with cholesterol. So Tampa Creek is saying hello to Mike, Janet, Yankee's sister, and everybody in the chat. So she's been with me a month, and guess what? She came in the other day when I was making the oatmeal. Some days she makes it, some days I make it. And she said that not only is her stomach going down, but her cholesterol level has gone down since she's been here. So I'm hoping that I am being a good influence on others as well. So this has, you can't tell whether it's blue or purple. So I'm putting blue next to it. Why? Because it's my quilt and I'm doing whatever I want to do. So I'm going to make sure that hopefully this side will go to the end. And I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam. So those of you who would like to sew quilt, you can sew these by hand if you want to. You can buy a used sewing machine. You can buy this one, the Singer So, am I back? Put a one in the chat. Okay. To answer your question, Tampa, yes. If you look at some of my old videos and live, I have made several quilts with clothing, including jeans, including my dad's old shirt. Would you like to see one? It says you see me. Would you like me to go get one made with clothes? In fact, I like to. Oh, and I also teach you how to debone a shirt. Uh, Odom's Homestead said yes. Mike's Chaotic Gardening said yes. I have deboned a bunch of shirts. Not only have I made quilts, I have made I have made neck bone pillows. For those of you who have been following me for a while, one of the family friends, her husband, my grandkids, great grandkids, godmother lost her husband, and they brought me a bunch of his old work shirts. One was a purple knit. I made that into a neck bone pillow. I'm in the process of making a quilt for her out of that. Awkward Quilter, Georgia. Thanks for coming and welcome, welcome, welcome. Sorry, I'm in church on Sundays when you go live, but sometimes I sneak and have you in the background and in the bushes. All right, thanks for coming. Hold on, you guys, and I will get a quilt made from clothes. Here she comes, dragging her tail behind her. Left, left, right, left. She had a good home, but she left. So, let me see. This one is made a memory quilt. It's a rag quilt and it's made of my dad's old clothes. And when my dad passed, I made all the members, all of his children, and my mom, me, my son, and I think my granddaughter a memory quilt out of his old clothes. So some of his clothes were jeans, and then some of the blocks have been worn out. This one is actually like a weighted blanket, it's very heavy. So if you look here, this is a block that I repaired. It was all worn out. So these are actually the cuffs to one of my old button down work shirts. I used to have a fancy office job. Mike said he loved my mom's quilt. Those were upcycled jeans. This one around the edges, I widened it, made it a little bigger, and it's all shirts, my button down work shirts. My dad, long story short, my dad is what they called a blue collar worker all of his life. He was from the South, and after eighth grade, they had to go in the fields and work. Everybody worked. Almost Homestead said she tried to the look of her rag quilts, tried to make one, a skirt back in religious days. Well, if at first you don't succeed, try again. So this one is a combination weighted blanket, a fidget quilt for people with, say, brain injuries. I had a traumatic brain injury myself 10 years ago and woke up from a coma. And I actually made this quilt of my dad's after that. But what I want to show you is that when I got to my quilt, because I made everybody else's first, and this one I almost want to cry. I miss him so much. My dad had a painting and construction business. This particular block still has some of the paint on it from where daddy used to work so hard, so hard. Autism, that's one of the things that the blankets are good for, Mike. It's also good for seniors with dementia, to have something to touch with. Hello, mother. To say hi to mommy Pankey. But look at this. This one has the back pocket of some jeans. Several of these have pockets. And when I woke up from the you'll run the skirt plan by me by this time, I gave my sister Joanne a skirt. It was like a circle skirt. It happened to be a Ralph Lauren skirt in Batiks, and I didn't wear it, so I gave it to my sister. It's a little too big for her, but she's gonna take the waist in, and it was long, and it was a really nice. Kids with anxiety would love this. This person had anxiety. I still go to PTSD counseling every Tuesday faithfully. And I have for the last 10 years. This block is kind of corduroy. This quilt is wearing out. I've had it on my bed or near me for the past 10 years. I always have it. This is what settles me at night. I have it across my feet. ARD commissioned a quilt for his dad that was denim and shirts. But I want you can see the stripes from the shirt, and I put cotton on the inside. Tampa says she didn't hate it. She didn't get any of her grandfather's clothes. You could have had a quilt made. Sad that you didn't get it done. Oh, but guess what? You know how to sew now, and you can make one yourself. You can sew denim. You can sew denim by hand. You have to use a thimble. A thimble. I have several kinds of thimbles for heavy stuff. This one is for a thumb when you're pushing it through for quilting. And I have, you actually put the thimble on your middle finger for those of you who want to sew by hand, and you push it through. You sleep with a weighted blanket at night. Yeah, this is a weighted blanket, Janet. This is very weighted. That's why I was singing that song, dragging her tail behind her, because I was like dragging this 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 quilt. The back of it, the back of it is in the middle is flannel. That was the original fabric. I found some flannel and I made it, oh, I want to say like 48 inches by 60. Then I decided, because I use it every day, a thumb thimble, yes, it's a thing, Janet. And you can buy leather thimbles as well. I don't have my thimble collection out here, but I have another container when I'm hand sewing with different kinds of thimble. You can get a leather thimble for your finger and that one and push it through. So when I enlarged this quilt because I wanted it to go over my feet, oh, I remember this quilt was 65 inches long. I'm 5'3" and a half. So it was about just a little bit taller than me, but the fringe took up some. So I just recently, when I got all that denim donated to me, I added a row in the top, a row on the bottom, and a row on the side. And I made it longer and even heavier. And talking about the fidget part, some of some of the blocks I resewed the buttons. Excuse me. Swallow talking too fast. Like this is a piece of the bottom of a sleeve. See this of a shirt? I used the whole thing. And I kept the button on. Some of the blocks, like this one, oh, it's wearing out. And you can see flannel, by the way, doesn't wear as well as cotton. My quilts that I make, like this one I'm making here, is going to be 100% cotton. But you see, I don't even know how old this shirt is. Daddy passed in 2016, and this had been one of his work shirts. Mommy used to give me his pants to fix, and I'm like, I work every day. Excuse me. I'm not fixing this shirt. I'll go buy him another shirt. I'll go buy him a pair of pants. And Daddy was 6'4", so his pants were like, I want to say 38 with waistline by about 34 length. So there was a lot of fabric in it. But you see where I sewed these buttons on it to make it like a fidget quilt. My great grandkids, when I was waking up from a coma, they would put, like, when they went trick or treating, they would put candy bars in here, or they would put the remote so Nana could find it. And uh, so all of these are his work shirts. But when I enlarged it, I didn't have any more of his fabric. So I was telling you about they considered his construction and painting a blue collar job. But guess what? His blue collar job sent 6 kids to college, all 6 of us. Barb Brownlee, if I didn't say hi, hello. Beautiful memories, precious memories. This quilt is with me every day, every night. When my bed is made up, this is what goes on it. And you see the denim on the back going around. So this quilt is extra, extra heavy. And you can use whatever size, excuse me, blocks you want. And you use, oh, thank you, Donzel. I'm a daddy's girl. I was the spoiledest thing. I was the spoiledest of all the kids. Why? Because we were together the longest, right, Daddy? I know you see Pen up there. I know. And people would say, well, Penny did this or Penny did that. Mommy would tell me when he came home from work, and he would say, oh, Pen, the good daughter. Did the good daughter do that? Of course, don't make me laugh, you guys. Of course she didn't. Oh, the key fobs. There are a lot of key fobs being made. I always have several things working. I have I have, just to show you guys you can make things. Excuse me. I have to get up and come over here because I want to show you this basket, because the 15 minutes a day that you do something, it could be anything. These are key fobs in the making. I have a lot of pink people. I have a lot of purple people. I have a lot of people that like camo. So some of these actually have the hook on them, different colors, or started here. All I have to do is sew this down and put my label on them. And these are ready to go. Sorry. Psalm 146. I know you asked me for a sunflower key fob. I did see some sunflower fabric somewhere when I was pulling stuff out, and I will get one made. Do any of you have any questions? So, the last block I will finish will be the pink one, for those of you like pink, and just see how you put all these scraps together and make something out of nothing. Oh, so I just found my snips. They went under this table mat that I have, a placemat. So for those of you who have this machine, it's not on the sturdiest table. It's like a folding table. When I used to sew on my dining room table, the machine didn't shake. It didn't work when I'm got my pedal down, my pedal to the metal. So what I have underneath my machine is a handmade placemat with cotton batting. And underneath that, I don't think you can see it. I have like the padding. I have 2 layers of that rubber padding that goes underneath of rugs. You love camo too? Oh, okay. Note to self. Note to self. So, this one, let's see how it's coming out because it's almost finished. Oh, isn't this one interesting? So, let's put something on the edge that's wild. That is wild because each one of these will be have a black, it will have a black mortar. So this one's just a little bit too narrow, but the seam is going to make it bigger. Oh, this is too pretty. to put on there. This will go. Oh, I could put that on that pink and blue block. Okay, so I'm gonna make this one really wild. I'm gonna put this in the corner. So this is a crazy palette, but the more I do it, the more fun that it is. But you see this? It says that it's guaranteed block prints and the serial number. These were good fabrics that I got from Quilt Africa Fabrics, and she ships them straight from Nigeria. There's no middleman involved. She is the best quality of fabrics, the weight, the color saturation, everything. I know this is on my lap, but I'm going to pull it up, and this will live to ride another day. And I'm just going to finish these two blogs and show you guys, because it's so interesting to me to see all these crazy colors. What beautiful blocks they make. What beautiful, beautiful blocks. So these will be bricks going into a quilt that I'm making, a modern slash Afro modern, because it has all these African fabrics in it. That's what makes it Afro modern. It's just a regular quilt. Okay, so this one goes to this side. And where's that fabric I just said? It had the pink and blue in it that I would put on the side. How about this one? This fabric is so thick. I'm feeling it to see if it's two pieces. Mona did what? My sister friend. Mona is so funny. Does the padding under your machine make it shake less? Absolutely, Janet. Absolutely. You don't see it shaking. You would see it on the. You not only would you see it shaking, I have my phone sitting up here. It would be all this would be shaking. So the padding really helps. Some people just put like something solid, but the rug, the thickness of that waffling on the rug has air in between it. So it's just natural insulation. So I'm going to put this on the other side of here. They have some quilts that they make um, in India and Africa. They're hand sewn, but and they have big stitches on it. They are absolutely gorgeous. And all those fabrics from all the different colors are mixed and matched together. And it makes for an amazing quilt. So I'm chain piecing this, but I'm going to stop because I want to show you these blocks before we end. They just have to be trimmed. So I am going to show you these blocks that you so patiently waited for. I started the other night. So look at this brick. How pretty is that? It needs to be trimmed. How wild is this? So she's ready. She just needs to be trimmed. And then this one that we just quickly did, look at this one. Of course, it will be trimmed. These words will be taken off. So you can see from the outside where it's over. This one just barely comes to the edge, but it will be fine. I will press them and then sew around the edges. So, Mona said, what beautiful fabric. These are all bits and pieces, Mona. Bits and pieces of batiks and African. I just love fabrics. I just love, 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 love. And when I'm putting the binding on my quilts, I will sit on my bed and have it on my lap and touch it. It looks like it was made that way. Isn't it funny? Look at this. These are salvages from some of the fabrics I've already cut up. I made a winter quilt last year. It still needs to of all African fabrics for my other tribe group, and I had these fabrics sent straight from Nigeria. But I'm going to be using these leftover strips. I saved them. I knew I wasn't going to throw them away. Juanita Campbell, hello from the bushes. She says it looks great. So there's that purple one that I fussy cut for Miss Mignon's hat. Remember when I made, those of you been following me, and I cut some African fabric out to make a hat for Miss Mignon and art quilt? Well, here's the part I cut her hat out of. And you can, again, you can see the serial number on it. This one is an amazing quilt. I don't normally put white in my quilts because I want them to last forever and ever and not get dirty. So this one you can see that I use with the white and blue and purple. I could have put it in that last block with the purple. So did you guys enjoy this? These crazy looking bricks? Best thing for mental health is petting the fabric and listening to what it can be turned into. It sure is. Those of you who are content creators, don't forget to drop your channel link by putting exclamation mark GQUAT and connect with each other. So, of course, this is going back on my bed. No matter when my bed is made up, that quilt has to be somewhere where I can touch it or put it over my feet. A resilient dad commissioned a quilt for his dad, and it was really heavy. It was a denim quilt. His dad wanted a denim quilt. And when you put it over, you just, it's a weighted blanket, is like a hug. It's like somebody's touching you, caressing you, hugging you. It's like my dad is hugging me. Pen, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. A lot of you ask me, how did I do so many things? Oh, I want to tell you guys something. We were talking about blue collar jobs. I printed something out where in Connecticut, there is a profession called advanced manufacturing. They make a lot of products here. There are a lot of medical institutions and testing institutions between Harvard University up in Massachusetts in Boston and here Yale in New Haven, Connecticut, near where I live, right? And Awkward Quilter says, good night. Thank you for coming and sharing the stories. Well, this profession, you go to the community college, not regular college. I think the course is a year and a half. Community college is only 2 years anyway. The median salary, I screen printed it for you guys. I don't know how to share it. The median salary starts at $73,000. $73,000. This is a picture of a quilt. I was looking for something else with African fabrics, with all the fabrics just pushed up against each other. For those of you who are squeamish about not having any black sashing or light white sashing or something between the blocks, and this is absolutely beautiful. But that wasn't what I was looking looking for. So, starting salary in Connecticut for advanced manufacturing, you don't need a PhD, you don't need an MBA, you don't need any of that thing. The salary is 73,000 to 123,000 to start. Then they go get these jobs like electric boat. They make a lot of submarines here off the coast of Connecticut. I mean, it gives me goosebumps to see these kids, 18, 19, 20 years old, making 73, $100,000 a year. That is crazy awesome. Of course, you can't buy a house for hardly under a million here in Connecticut either, but it is what it is. The minimum wage here in Connecticut is $16 and some change. And people want to know why I live here. Hey, Mike, MB Heritage Farms, how you doing? How you doing? I'm good. I'm good. Put your channel link in, Mike. Exclamation mark GQUAT and drop your link. He has, I think, oh, today's Saturday. On Friday nights, he has some country music and some shenanigans. It is so funny on his channel. I'm usually in the bushes and just having fun. When I lived in California, I some of the other paralegals and myself, I used to be a senior corporate paralegal, said they were going to the rodeo that night, right? And I'd already owned horses and had the cowboy gear and everything, boots. I got boots in here right now to die for with all the silver on it, the silver buckle. I don't have the Stetson hats anymore because there's no room for it here. That's fabric room. And I said, "Oh, I'm going to take an allergy pill so we can go to the rodeo." It wasn't a real rodeo. It was the biggest Western bar in the United States. And did we have fun? I was clogging, doing all those country dances. They fell out. And then one of the clients came into the law firm during the week, and they're like, "Miss Pankey, did I see you at the Western thing?" You show did. You show did. My husband was a urban black cowboy. He had all the gear. Couple of Coke 45, pearl handled pew pews on his side in the store. Yeah, those. Oh, and Mr. Mossberg across the back of the pickup truck window, because you could open carry in North Carolina. Yep, you sure could. My dad was originally from North Carolina. My sister and brothers and I were born and raised in Connecticut. So I have a Connecticut accent. Some people get real persnickety with me. Oh, she thinks she's. No, you don't even know me. Don't tell me what I think I am. If you want to know, ask me. If you get it twisted, I'll let you know that too. Yeah, no. Yeah, see, I'm pretty 2A, and I believe in being good to the people that are good to me. And that's how we roll. So, Mother Egoamote, and now it's time to say goodbye to all our lovely friends in American Sign Language. This is an I, this is an L, this is a U. Do what you love, you guys, and love what you do. Don't forget, 15 minutes a day, do something you love.